Hey guys, this is Dr. Callahan. Welcome to Algebra 2 Semester 2 for week 2, Wednesday. This is your warm-up log. Go ahead and pause the video and answer the following 3 questions. Here are your answers for the first 2. Question 3 is a little bit more subjective. All right, so we are going to take a look at Wednesdays, and just keep in mind that on Wednesdays, you guys have your weekly grade checks. I give out assessments. There's no exam, so you guys have mini quizzes every Wednesday, and they come in the form of 2 different forms. One is a math Excel. It's usually 10 questions. It's assigned on Wednesday, due on Sunday by 11 p.m., or it's going to be paper and pencil. So today you guys have a paper and pencil version in class, and it's due by the end of the class, and you'll get both. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And as always, your math Excel homework assignments are assigned on Monday, and it's due on Sunday by 11 p.m. All right, so this is your quiz in class. It looks like this. Here's your first page. Here's your second page right there on the back. And we're just simply working on the very first question, which is question number 4. And now I'm going to teach you guys how to go ahead and graph this one. All right, so let's go ahead and graph it. Oh crap, hold on. There we go. Let me make sure this is being changed. All right, so for those of you guys at home, you're going to be graphing this. And can somebody tell me what is the first part? Is it 5x to the 4th? So you type in 5. And then do you see your X button right there? There's your X button. Just push on the X. And then to the 4th power, you got to use that little caret. So that little caret is right there, the little red button right there. And type in 4. But do you see how like your cursor is still on top right there? You don't want it on top, because if I do like plus, do you see how like it's still an exponent? That's not good. So we're going to delete that. Okay, so don't do that. And then to move that down, you just push the right arrow button. And do you see now the cursor is back on the bottom with the basis? So 5x to the 4th power. And then it is minus 2x cubed. So I'm going to put minus, not negative, but minus 2x. And then cube, you have to do that little caret one more time. Push the 3, push the right button to bring it down. And it's important that you know how to do this, because you have this on your common district final. So you have to use your calculator for a lot of these things. Plus 5x squared. Okay, so then I'm going to go back to that and put plus sign 5x. You're squared. You don't have to do the caret. You see the x squared button right there, so you can just do squared, and it saves you a few seconds because then you don't have to push the right button. And then lastly, 5x squared, and then minus 2x. Minus 2x. Okay, so you should have this under graph. This is what it should look like. Give you guys about 20 more seconds to make sure you type that in. And then you're just gonna hit graph, this button right up here where it says graph. So every time I click a button, it turns red. So I'm hoping that this helps you guys a little bit more so you can see how we do this. And then when you guys take a look at this, ta-da, this is your graph. Now, if you're like, why is there a bunch of spaces over here, left side and right side? I don't need this many empty spaces. I really need to see the zeros, which is this part, which I need to magnify that. So then where you go is you want to go to Windows. You see the Windows right here? Click on the Windows button. Okay. Now I'm going to change my X min to like a -2. Whoops, that's totally not it. Negative. And the negative button is not a minus button. Negative button is all the way in the bottom. Do you see this button right here? That's a negative. -2. X max, I don't need to have an X max. I'm going to change that to like maybe a 3. So there's 3 spaces in between there. And then I'm going to hit graph one more time just to see what changes I made. Okay, it's getting a little bit better. I could kind of see it, but it's still kind of hard to see this part, you know, because I want to magnify this area a little bit more. So then maybe instead of having all this extra space on top and bottom, because if you look at it, it really goes down to like -2. Do you see that? We're going to go back to the Windows. I'm going to go down over here to Y min. And instead of having 10 spaces there, let's just do -2. So I'm going to put a negative right there, push 2. And then the Y max, instead of have 10 spaces there, I could just do 4. You know, that's totally fine. So make sure your window is the same as mine. I feel like this is so much easier so you can see this, right? Instead of me like drawing it and writing it down, I'm like, I don't care if it's $250 as long as I have this. This is really good. All right, and then you guys hit graph. Okay, so now that you see this, you can kind of see a little bit better where that 0 is. That 0 is this point right here and this point right there. But I want to know specifically what it is. So you're going to go to, and actually, you know what? I'm going to change it one more time. I'm going to change our window to a -1. So maybe I'll graph a little bit better. So hold on, let's see. -1. It didn't change. Hold on, let's try one more time. -1. There we go. Now graph. Okay, that looks a little bit better. It's a little bit more defined. You see exactly where the 0 is. Okay, so then what you're gonna do is let's go ahead and go to second calc. So the second button right here in red, then you're gonna hit calc, which it says trace, but I want the calc in the back in the blue. That's why I'm hitting the second button. And then once you do that, you're gonna go down to 0, which is number 2. Then hit enter. Okay, so if I want the 0 here, I have to move this cursor above it first. So move your left arrow. So see, as you click your left arrow, you see how your little cursor is moving. I want it above the x-axis, hit enter. When you hit enter, do you see how your first little triangle shows up right there? And then I'm going to move my right arrow to go below the x-axis, hit enter one more time. And then do you see how you have another little triangle? So what that means is that between those little 2 triangles, it's going to make an estimate what that 0 is. So you hit enter a third time and 0 equals 0, 0. Do you guys see that? So that is your first part of your answer. And that does make sense because if I go back over here, didn't I have 4 zeros? Wasn't the first 0 at 0? Isn't that correct, you guys? You guys see that? Yeah, so that's correct. So it validates it. So then I'm gonna find the second 0. So you're gonna move your little second calc, go down to 0 for number 2, hit enter, and then you're gonna move your little right arrow. Okay, I'm gonna go below the x-axis first, hit enter. Go above the x-axis, hit enter. Once you have your 2 little triangles, hit enter a third time. And then what does it say? 0.4. And that makes sense because if you go back to this, wasn't 2 divided by 5, isn't that 0.4, you guys, right? So then you're like, well, but it says 4 zeros. What about the plus and minus I? I stands for imaginary number. It doesn't exist. And so on your graph, of course, you won't have that. So on this graph right here, you know you have 2 zeros. You have 2 imaginary zeros, but you have 2 real zeros. 0 and 0.4. So then I'm just going to draw my graph. So here is 0 and 0.4. And it's going to be really hard for you to draw, but you know, it's going to be like something like that. Yeah, so you can just draw the best you can. But those are the 2 different ways of finding zeros, okay? So then what I'm gonna have you guys do is you are going to take a look at your worksheet here, and there are 8 questions over here. I went over question number 4, so you'll get the points for that. And you guys can go ahead and pick whichever one else you want to do. There's one, like 7 other ones. So I will recommend that for this quiz, you guys go ahead and pick any 4. So pick 4 more here. Okay, any 4 of your choice, any 4. Is there one question in particular that you would like me to go over a little bit more with you guys on 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, or 8? Is there one that you guys are having difficulty with? 5, absolutely. Let's go over number 5. Sorry, it takes me a little bit of time to kind of like move it over, but I will get there. 5. And then let's project that. Oh, for crying out loud, what did I just do? Hold on a second. Sorry about that. Let's go back to this. There we go. Okay, so for number 5, and let me make sure I have the screen share on this because I will start screaming if it's on the wrong one. All right, so for number 5, the first method that you can do is you can just set x equals 0. And looking at this part right here, it's just x equals -2, x equals +2. And then with the last one, you have to do a little bit of work, okay? You're gonna have to add the 4 on both sides. So 3x squared equals 4, divided by the 3. So x squared equals 4 over 3. And then you go ahead and square root it. So you have x equals plus or minus. You can put that square root into your calculator. And if you're like, how do I do that? You just go ahead and go to, let's go get out of this. So second and quit. So once you hit second quit, you're back to here. So you're gonna just do square root, which is second x squared. So once you have the square root, you're gonna type in 4 over 3. Takes me a little bit longer, mainly because I have to kind of switch back and forth, you guys. So thank you for being patient. 4 over 3. So type in 4 divided by 3, enter. And that gives you a 1.155. So you don't just have one of them, you have 2 of them. You have a positive 1.155 and a negative 1.155. So if you look at this right here, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different zeros. Okay, and if you count, there's 1, 1, 1x, and 2x. So if you add them together, 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 2 should give you 5 zeros. No, I don't think there's a E in the zeros. I think it's just like that. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not an English teacher. Hold on, let me see. Now that's odd. Is there an E in zeros? Okay, so it's not. Okay, there is 1 E and not 2 E. Oh, no, there is. Zeros. Hold on. I knew there was something. ZEROES. I know it kind of looks weird, like it shouldn't be an E in there, you know, after the O, but no, there is. I'm like, certain little things like that just like makes me irritated. I'm like, okay, I'll Google this. Gotta figure it out. All right, so then that's the first way. Another way that you guys can do this is if you decide to go ahead and factor it out. So let's go ahead and take a look how you would do this if you were to factor this out. So here's the second method, and let's factor this. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to FOIL these 2 polynomials, okay? If I FOIL these 2 polynomials, I have x squared. Inside, outside, you get positive 2x and a negative 2x, so that cancels, minus 4. That's what it equals to. But then you have to go ahead and not forget that you also have this piece right here, which is a 3x squared minus 4, and we're gonna FOIL that, okay? When we FOIL that first, it's gonna give you a 3x to the 4th. Outside is a negative 4x squared. Inside is a negative 12x squared, and last, it's a 16. But then don't forget your x right here on the outside. So we're going to multiply that in, and then you're just going to have like literally 1 extra x's. So 3x to the 5th, 4x to the 3rd, 12x cubed, 16x. And this is what you're going to be graphing, okay? So then I'm going to take our graphing calculator. Okay, so I'm gonna go to my graphing calculator. I'm gonna switch this over to this one here. I'm gonna go to y equals, okay? So I'm already done with this one, so you can just hit clear, which is this little red button right here that I just hit. And then once you have clear, we're gonna go ahead and do 3x to the 5th. So 3x caret to the 5th, right button, so you're not doing the exponent, minus 4x to the 3rd, right button. and then minus, oh, hold on a second. Hold on. I totally messed up somewhere. Hold on. Sorry. Go back to this. Yeah, I did mess up somewhere. Hold on a second. Let's see. Where did I mess up? Okay, you know what? No, I didn't mess it up. So I need to do one more thing. I need to combine those two together, and -4 and -12 is a -16x cubed. Sorry about that. So minus 16x cubed. Minus, so go back. So just change that to a 16x cubed. And then plus 16x. Plus 16x. And with this one, there's no imaginary number, so you should have all 5 zeros shown, although you probably can't see it because my window is way too small. Do you see that right there? So let's go back to the windows. We're going to go ahead and just extend everything over. So I'm going to do a -20, max +20. Oh, come on, don't do that. Max, I'm gonna go down and it's gonna go to oh no. Come on, okay. Fit y equals windows -2, 0. Down button, +2, 0. Down button, keep going down. I think it's a little bit easier for you guys to push it rather than using a mice, but you know, this thing is like really kind of difficult. -20, and then max is +20. Okay, so then I'm gonna hit graph, and let's see what my graph looks like. I see this thing going up, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's gonna come back over somewhere. I just I need to figure out which way it's gonna be coming over here. So let's go over to the X max. And let's go ahead and extend that over to like maybe 60. And then also to the X min. And maybe to -60. Graph. If I extend a little bit further, I wonder if it's ever going to come down here somewhere. It doesn't look like it is for some reason. Let's see. Maybe we can play around with this a little bit. Zoom out. Let's see. Another one that you can do is, let's see if we try zoom stack. I want to see what that does. Okay, let's just, whoops. Oh no, not zoom stack, zoom fit. So number 10 is zoom fit. So rather than playing around trying to figure out where your graph goes, if you go to zoom fit graph, it should, keyword should, try to go ahead and at least show you where that graph is going to be. But that's okay. I feel like generally that's how you will go ahead and graph this. Okay. I'm going to have you guys hold on to this because I feel like you're going to need a little bit more time on this material. So let's go on to the back of this. So flip your paper over to the back. I'm going to go ahead and go over. Let's go ahead and do I'll do number 12. So let's take a look at number 12, okay, because that has a fraction and it looks a little bit complicated to do. Okay, so for number 12, it's basically asking you to find the zeros. Like it's giving you the 0, but what is the polynomial? So you're kind of working backwards, okay? So they're giving you the 0, but they want you guys to work backwards to find the actual polynomial function, like x squared plus blah, 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 blah. So then what you're going to do in this situation is you're going to go ahead and do x plus 3. So I'm going to write it reverse. X minus 5. And I know you're thinking, well, what do I do if I have a fraction like this? So the way that you do this is you're just going to put 3x plus 1. So you put that 3 in front of the x. And I know you're like, are you sure that's correct? If you're not sure, one thing that you can do is just solve it. 3x minus 1 equals 0. 3x equals 1. X equals 1 over 3, but I need a negative, so I'll change that to a negative. There we go. Or I'll change it to a positive, sorry, positive. Just kidding, not negative, positive, opposite. So if I change that to a positive, it will be a negative 1 over 3. So does that check out? Yeah, it does, okay? So then once you have this, we're gonna go ahead and FOIL the first two, these two right here. So if I go ahead and FOIL that, remember it's FOIL. So your first, you're gonna get an x squared. Your outer, you're gonna get a negative 5x. Your inner, you're gonna get a 3x. But if you combine those together, it's a negative 2x. And then your last is 3 times negative 5, which is negative 15. But then don't forget your second binomial, which is right here. So then multiply by 3x plus 1, okay? Now with this one, you could do one of several ways. We can make a chart, which might be the best way to do it. Okay, like a 2 by 3 chart. Your 3x and 1 will be right there. And then your x squared minus 2x minus 15 will be across, okay? And then all you're gonna do now is just fill in that chart. Hey, what's up? Absolutely. Okay, so let's fill out the chart. You have 3x cubed, negative 6x squared, negative 45x. That's your first horizontal answer. Then your second horizontal answer is x squared minus 2x minus 15. Now, you guys know that your first answer is always going to be the upper left-hand side. Your last answer is going to be the bottom right-hand side. And then your answers in between are going to be diagonals. So you have to combine the diagonals, and I'm highlighting yellow and orange. So then your first answer is 3x cubed minus 5x squared minus 47x minus 15. You guys finish this. I'll collect it tomorrow for the second part. You can pick any 4 questions as well. So 4 and 4, you guys. Have a great week. I will see you guys next time.